Speaking of the Celtics here, let's take a look at what Boston has done this offseason in terms of all of their moves, and we'll recap and hand out some grades here too as well. So for Kemba Walker, of course, was the big one.
Of course.
And frankly, I thought that was a huge win for them.
It was, you know. The Boston Celtics went from, hey, they might be showing some interest, sneaky, they're kind of quietly pursuing Kemba Walker, to all of a sudden, whoa, Boston Celtics are the favorites, to, whoa, again, they're getting Kemba Walker. You know, they max him out. That's a win. Assuming he doesn't decline with his age, I think it's just an incredible recovery from Kyrie Irving, potentially, and even an upgrade chemistry-wise.
So for Kemba coming over, look, he was great last year for the Hornets. He was an incredible talent. Had, frankly, I think his best year ever. Comes over 25.6, 6 assists. Do you think those numbers go up or down at all?
They should go down because he was on a terrible team last year. I mean, just miserably bad supporting cast. But you go over to Boston, he has a chance. I think it'll be closer to 21 points per game, and maybe the assist numbers go up instead.
Here's the Celtics lineup. By the way, shout out to people who think this is on a loop because it's not. Bawana and J-Mac and all of you liars in the comments section. This is their current core. Of course, we'll talk about Kanter here in a little bit. I think the move to get Kemba, even just ignoring the Kyrie drama and everything there, that was an A+ move for the Boston Celtics. To beat out Dallas 100%. And everybody else there.
Yeah, 100%. It might even look better recovering the way they did because of everything that happened. Of course, went out in the draft, got Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, and Carson Edwards to bolster that bench, re-signed Daniel Theiss. We'll talk about all that here in just a minute, but I like what the Celtics are doing. I think they have, recovered nicely from losing their star player and a franchise piece in Al Horford as well.
Fair or not, Kemba's always going to be compared to Kyrie Irving over the next 4 years because they're both, in theory, going to be in the same spot in Brooklyn and in Boston, respectively. So here's the question. Is Kemba an upgrade or a downgrade from Kyrie? Type U for upgrade, D for downgrade.
Look, as a player, Kyrie Irving is the better player. I think that's pretty obvious that he is better. But for the Boston Celtics, call me crazy, I think it's an upgrade.
I see some U's coming in here from... Okay, here they all come in now. I was going to give a shout out there, and then all the names appeared. It's mostly U's. A couple of D's mixed in there. JC said D. Savage Bros says U. I think the U's have it here. Factoring in the way things went in the offseason, or during the season in terms of the locker room, that's enough for me to give it a U on that front.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Kanter also coming to the Boston Celtics, a 2-year, $10 million deal. The offense, he's a plus there. The defense, got some issues there. What do you make of this deal, Jimmy?
I actually really like it. I think it's good for Enes Kanter as well. It kind of shows that he's on a team that needs him and wants him a little bit more than Portland does because Portland, look, they had Nurkic, they have Hassan Whiteside now. They didn't need to bring back Enes Kanter, but now he goes to a team where he's potentially a starter. Like we're slotting him in as a starter right now. A good recovery. Again, this is a guy that offensively, he's going to do just about everything you need him to do as a big man.
And he can still rebound pretty well. I mean, he almost averaged a double-double last year.
Yeah.
I always think he's been a little bit underrated because he had a lot of hate during his time with the Thunder at various points. And even a little bit too. But $5 million for Kanter, I think that's a really good deal for them in the end.
Yes, 100%. $5 million per year. He's getting 2 years with the Celtics. And hey, in the playoffs, he had a great showing. They made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and that's in large part due to Enes Kanter's play when Jusuf Nurkic went down.
All right, folks, so should Kanter start at center? Type Y for yes, type N for no.
I mean, there's an argument to be made if Robert Williams improves in the offseason, if you really like Daniel Theiss, maybe you like Mr. Vincent Poirier, who we'll talk about here in just a little bit.
We're going to call him VP.
But Enes Kanter should definitely be the starting center.
That's how you say it. All right, folks. So I would at least consider the idea, a big if, as we mentioned before. If Robert Williams, though, does take a step forward and he offers a little bit more defense because you have a lot of scoring ability for your starting lineup, maybe you make Kanter part of your key bench unit.
It's not a bad idea. I actually kind of like that.
All right, folks, make sure you are subscribed here. Get us to 125K. We're at 122,593. I'll update those numbers here in a little bit, but make sure you're subscribed here. We do all kinds of NBA coverage, NFL coverage too. By the way, we will be live again tomorrow morning for more NBA news, rumors, everything for you here on Chat Sports. Also, that figuring out to 647. So thank you guys very much. 125K coming up very, very soon. All right, more re-signings here for Boston. That's Daniel Theiss, a 2-year, $10 million deal. So the same as they got Kanter. And I'll make note here, Theiss and these other players, because they're minimums or they were re-signings, they can still be signed and not clog up their caps. It's not going to count 5 against the cap yet for Boston.
Yeah, undersized big man, he can stretch the floor really well, and he's a pretty good shot blocker for his size. If you're that small, as a big man, he is 6'9", you got to be able to shoot it really well, and he does that. And defense, he actually brings you pretty good defense. So I like the re-signing of Daniel Theiss. I think it's nearly a bargain.
Look, Boston continues to have great depth. Theiss will compete with guys like Grant Williams for minutes there, with he who must not be named potentially for minutes there, Kanter, Robert Williams, and also VP, the French big man the Celtics just signed, Vincent Poirier.
Yeah. Tom's going to continue to try to get me to say it right.
I'm going to try and get it one of these days because I'm sorry.
He's going to try to say it right. He's going to try to get me to say it right. I'm just not going to say it right. I'm going to keep saying Vincent Poirier.
The R's don't exist, and it confuses me.
He is officially, he really is a defensive guy. I mean, that's what he does. That's why they brought him in. He's a good offensive rebounder. He's not going to bring you a ton on the offensive end, but he's 7 foot tall, and he played really well overseas. I think he'll be a valuable addition, and he kind of counteracts that, offensive-minded Kanter to the defensive-minded Vincent.
I did watch some of the highlights as I was trying to hear how the pronunciation is said, and I still don't think I have it really there in the end. But he did have some nice moves on offense.
Did he really?
Yeah.
You liked some?
Yeah. So look, he's an overseas guy. We don't really watch very much. We'll see how he ends up playing there. One guys we have seen a little bit more of is Brad Wanamaker, also going back on a 1-year deal to maybe that 14th, 15th guy there.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was great in the Euro Leagues and then came over and just didn't really turn into what everyone thought he could turn into. He was the oldest rookie last year in the NBA, and they just bring him back as a cheap option to back up, potentially back up even Marcus Smart, who's probably the second option off the bench for the Celtics.
Think of this maybe as like some extra investment or backup plans in case Carson Edwards does not have a big year, or step up real. I really think Edwards is going to be that main backup to Boston, and Wanamaker ends up being the third guy.
I hope it is. I really like Carson Edwards. I hope he is the backup guy this next season.
All right, so we know the guys the Boston added or re-signed. Here's who they lost. Kyrie Irving, of course, was the big one. Look, it was a fantastic idea at the time. It made sense. It was a good move, but it did not pan out in the end.
No, it didn't. I mean, he wanted to be there, and then all of a sudden things started to fall apart. And look, Kyrie's going to Brooklyn now, and I think that's kind of where he always wanted to go, but he did have a good season. It still is a loss for the Boston Celtics, no matter how you look at it. But when you counter it with Kemba Walker, it's a little bit less of a loss. It's a little bit less of a hit, and you kind of get this toxic guy out of your locker room. No matter if he was actually toxic towards his teammates, when he was just saying everything to the media, it became toxic for the Celtics.
All right, so the Nets, meanwhile, this is their potential lineup with Durant once he's inevitably healthy. Which team is better right now? Boston or the Nets for this year only?
For this year only? Ooh, I think I have to give it to Boston. I think all-around team, they are the better team. Now, eventually, once KD gets back, it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets. Like, absolutely no matter what, no matter how you
Unless Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown or both really step up in a big way.
I mean, yeah, but they'd have to step up in a very big way.
All right, folks, so again, that's their Kyrie Irving on that front. Al Horford, he's also gone there, Jimmy.
Yeah, that was a bigger hit for them because they thought they were going to get him. Like, they thought he was coming back to Boston, and all of a sudden, he dipped out and went to Philadelphia, and good move for Philly. It definitely hurts for the Boston Celtics, but they replace him with Enes Kanter, Vincent, your boy, and hopefully Robert Williams can turn into some kind of a big man eventually. I also like bringing back Daniel Theiss.
All right, so Al Horford there. He's going to the Philadelphia 76ers. What did you make of that move?
I thought it was a win.
In terms of like the Boston side of things, though.
It hurts them a lot, but it also opened up all the space they needed to go get Kemba Walker. So
that's true.
I think it's kind of you got to give something to get something, and I think what they got is better than what they lost, so it's worth it in my opinion.
Meanwhile, for the Sixers, here's their current lineup with Simmons and Richardson and Harris and Embiid and Horford. So same question, which team's better right now, the Sixers or the Celtics?
It's tough. I want to hear from everybody else. If you think it's the 76ers, just type 7-6 If you think it's Boston Celtics, just type BOS. Let us know which team is better, the Sixers or the Celtics next season. I'm going to give the edge here to Philadelphia. As much as I like to trash on Ben Simmons for not having a jump shot, it's hard to beat a big four of Simmons, Tobias Harris, Embiid, and Horford. And then they recovered nicely with guys like Richardson, Matisse Thybulle coming in from the draft, who I really like, Kyle O'Quinn, and they just re-signed James Ennis as well. So good recovery from Philly here.
All right, so back to Kyrie Irving here. They lose their resident flat earther.
This is important.
So is the earth flat or round? Type F for flat, R for round. And we'll give some shout-outs here, too.
I am only asking this question because I genuinely want to know, and I want to see if people can tell me if it is flat or round.
They're just going to troll.
Well,
you know that.
I don't know what the right answer is, so whatever they tell me.
No, there is a right answer, Jimmy.
Whatever they tell me, that is what I'm running with, honestly. It's all up to our people here.
Look, if you guys type in F, I'm not going to shout you out here. All right, Jake Grossman, you're right with R. Avob the Gamer says round. Greg says R. Mr. Hydro says R. Doug, good job. Jake, Bryce, Austin.
Hey, MLB Joey says flat.
No, we're not shouting out flat. Stop it, it's round.
Everybody spam
the earth
flat.
Is round.
Everybody spam flat just to make old Tommy boy here a little angry.
I cannot in good faith encourage this. David says R. Handel says R. Bucks win Game 7 says R. It's a man for Jimmy's heart right there. Oh, God.
Bucks are still going to win Game 7.
F right now. I will shout out those of you who typed in triangle or square.
Ooh, that's a good option.
You guys were pretty funny.
I haven't thought about it.
That one.
Haven't thought about that
funny.
one yet.
There are way too many Fs. We're moving on here. The only thing crazier than thinking the world is flat, by the way, is the contract Terry Rozier gave to the Charlotte Hornets there.
I'll say $58 million for 3 years was absolutely ridiculous. And look, we have to talk about it because they did end up losing out on. I mean, he did leave the Boston Celtics. Like, he was their backup point guard. No matter how you spin it, even though he got overpaid, he was still a backup for him. So now they only have Brad Wanamaker there and Carson Edwards potentially. Maybe Marcus Smart runs some point. But Rozier was an important part of their rotation. And as bad as the contract is for the Hornets, it does hurt for the Celtics to lose him.
Yes, but at the same yes. Like, and I don't want to hate too much on Scary Terry because we've done plenty of that here. But this was not a good signing, but it is still a loss for Boston because he does bring you stability. And frankly, he might double his numbers in Charlotte because they have nobody else.
Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting if he can score 18-ish points per game.
I think he very well might. Doesn't make it a good deal though in the end.
No, it definitely does not. But it is something that we had to look at and at least say, hey. It's someone Boston lost at the end of the day, no matter how much money he was getting paid. All
right, so the players that they added here, Kemba, Kanter, Vincent, Theiss, and also Brad Wanamaker. He signed very recently here, actually just a couple hours, not even an hour ago, like 40 minutes ago here. Then they lost Kyrie Irving, they lost Al Horford, and they lost Scary Terry Rozier as well. So overall, I think this was a good offseason for the Boston Celtics, like relative to what it could have been.
Exactly. Yeah, and honestly, when you look at what they do have on the court, it's really impressive. You run a starting five with Kemba Walker, who is an all-star. Jason Tatum has the potential to be an all-star someday. Jaylen Brown has the potential to be an all-defensive kind of guy someday. Gordon Hayward in Utah was incredible. If he can get back to that, that's an absolute win. And then Enes Kanter, if he can provide you double-doubles on a nightly basis. Look, Boston recovered super well from losing an all-star in Kyrie Irving and losing, obviously Al Horford. But their bench is good too. That's another thing. Marcus Smart, Carson Edwards, Romeo Langford. I like the draft pick of Grant Williams. They get an older guy from Tennessee. And I also think Robert Williams could turn into something. And then you can't forget the fact that Daniel Theiss has officially come back. Look, Boston lost.
Is still there for Boston.
Exactly.
Somehow.
Boston lost a lot of big-name players, for sure. There's no doubting that. And everybody kind of thought this offseason was going to be a wash. But, there's a chance that this turns out better than what they had.
All right, folks, so grade Boston's free agency so far. Let's assign the numbers here. A, B, C, D, or F. Expectations matter.
Yeah.
The money, the value matters here. It's not just like, okay, we got this, cool, we did great. Like, it does factor in what you could have done. So what's your grade?
I'm going to give it an A-.
Okay.
I think it is an incredible recovery. The expectations were really low. I think the expectations were, hey, we're just going to lose everybody. Everybody's going to walk. Now, we still have to see what happens with Marcus Morris. That domino will likely fall with Kawhi Leonard.
I assume he's gone.
I assume he's gone too, but I'm going to go A- here.
I'm going to give it a B plus, somewhere in that range. That seems to be a very common answer there. I see plenty of A's in there as well. So keep those votes flowing, folks. We appreciate it here, but that's your look at the Boston offseason.